Welcome for the first time. Hang on. For the first time, 2020, we got it on the field today with the defensive team at least. Offensive guys are coming in the afternoon, so we're finally back to the grass, which is really good to be out here. And we're in a ramp-up period, just getting started. We won't be practicing like we like to practice for days ahead here, but at this time, at least we're on the field and we're getting going and we're starting to make the process come to life. We're off to a really good start with our guys. One of the big emphasis to get rolling here was coming in under a quarantine mentality, and we're very fortunate that we tested our way through it, and we had very good results, and our guys have prepared themselves really well in that regard. And now, as we start strength and conditioning today and get the guys actually running and doing things, we'll start to begin the evaluation process of where everybody is and how they feel and how the condition that they're in and where things start to fit together. So just getting started. And but it feels good to get active and get out here and get out in the sunshine.
Corbin Smith.
Basket by Corbin Smith.
Hi, Pete. Last time that you spoke with us, you mentioned the possibility of Marquise Blair playing some nickel this year. Now that Jamal Adams has been added to the fold, do you envision Marquise or even Quandre potentially playing some out of the slot to get all three of those players in the field at the same time? How much flexibility does that give you schematically with three versatile athletes like that?
Yeah, we're really pumped about this, this camp to figure that part out. For the most part, we have to figure out Marquise. He's the one that's going to get the opportunity to get in on the slot and do some stuff that puts him in a position to be really active and be part of the pressure packaging and some real aggressive part of the play. So that's cool for him. As we add, Jamal into the program here, there's so many things that he does well that we're excited about fitting that together, and as we move forward. It doesn't seem like uncharted territory for me at all, because I've been very fortunate and coached some really, really good safeties over the years, and I see traits of Jamal in all of those guys. He can do everything that we want a guy to do. He's most dynamic as an aggressive player, where he has chances to make plays and be around the line of scrimmage and around coverage and in pressure situations. He's really good at all of that. So, I'm thrilled to be putting this thing together. We won't know for some time now, but I can picture it, and I can't wait to see this come to life.
Thank you.
John Boyle.
Yeah, Pete, just to follow up on that, this is the first we've talked to you since the Adams trade. Just his unique talents, what does he bring to you guys in terms of playmaking ability, and how can he help this defense?
You're talking about Jamal now?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, one of the things that the style of his play is that he's really aggressive. He's an attack-oriented guy. He's a guy the kind of guys that I've seen in years past that when they see things, they don't hesitate. They go, and they're very, very decisive and very physical and creative as well. It takes creativity to see the opportunities and then to seize those opportunities, and he's got all of that. Great burst, physical nature, and then also the athleticism to make the plays happen. He's really good in coverage one-on-ones. He's good in zone stuff. So it just all fits, and so we're going to we had a very dynamic duo in years past, when Cam and Earl were here. Those guys were entirely different players. I mean, they couldn't have been further. I mean, one guy was huge, and the other guy's a smaller guy. Just a huge difference in the talent that they brought. But yet we incorporated their stuff to hopefully, and we tried to. It was the illustration of our approach to highlight the uniqueness of the players. And so that's what's going to happen here with Jamal and really. Quandre Diggs is a really dynamic player too. He showed that last year with us, and as we already pointed out, Marquise has a whole structure to his game that we love to fit in. So this is really all we could hope for, and you'll see it come to life. But it's about putting them in really good positions and then cutting them loose to do the things they're good at.
Thank you.
Curtis.
Hey, Pete, I'm kind of curious how you view where your cornerback situation's at now with Quentin Dunbar not able to be here with you, given his legal circumstances. If you have any update on that front, I'd welcome it too. But just kind of how you see all the pieces you do have there kind of piecing together at this stage.
Okay, well, I don't have any updates for you on Quentin's situation right now. It's really it's out of our hands, and we'll see how that goes. But we're in the developmental stage of our corners growth. I thought Shaq had a great season last year for us. Really bounced back. I thought year 1 and year 2 was there. We thought he could do better. Year 3, I thought he did a fantastic job. I thought he exploded. Playmaking, physical, count on, come through guy, all of that, big plays, all of that stuff he did. In year 2 for Trey, I thought also kind of maybe not as much ground we made up as I would have liked. So he comes back for us just with a whole another experience in his back pocket. I'm going to expect him to be, and as a matter of fact, I'd already talked to him about this, be very aggressive, very physical, and make sure that we take advantage of the 2 years that he's got behind him now, and it really comes to the front. So we've got, our corners are coming back, and so the competition is on, and guys will be battling for those spots. I don't want to overlook Ugo, doing what he can do. He was a nice factor late in the year playing the nickel spot. He's going to be in there in the coverage situations and battling with Marquise. So we're really just like I said, in the developmental process of these guys. I mean, there's no reason to think that they're not going to get better this year and be an improved product from where we were. So we've got experience, we know what we got, and we're physical. So I like our chances.
Tim.
Hey, Pete. From your perspective, I guess, what has these first few days of going through the testing process been like? How have you seen it all be handled? And then when you get on the field this week, what is the conditioning going to look like for these guys as you start to ramp up?
Okay, it's been a really different process. This is not like any other start to any camp we've ever been around. The call for patience is it's ridiculous. It could be we get to this point, we miss the off season, the physical part of it on the field and in the complex here and all of that. So we're so raring to go, and yet we can't start. The whole first week was really quarantine. Week 2 now is the ramp up period, and so we're still not there. We really won't get to practice like we want to practice until our third day on the field. It's like Thursday the 14th or something like that. So we're so far away from ever even getting to that point, because what we're doing right now is really to take the place of the off-season work that we would have had on the field. And so that's why we're ramping up, and the league has given us a structure that we can follow, that we need to be very disciplined about how we do this, and find out where our guys are conditioning wise. So today was the first day. And we only have half the team. Then we'll have the other half of the team out there in the afternoon to just see where we are. And it's really about individual evaluations, and then we'll make a collective decision too on where we are, and then we'll go from there. So we're this is just a unique time. There's nothing like it. We're going to put together a camp that's going to take us right to the opening game, and away we go. Like I've said to you guys in the past, I don't feel uncomfortable with that, because we just came out of the 9 years at SC, where your first game is you're playing for the national championship, because if you don't win that game, you may be out of it. And so it's the same thought and the same approach. And so we'll try to do a really good job with a really clear sight on how we're going about it. But right now we're just starting the process of finding out the physical aspect of where our team is, and I can't tell you. I don't know anything about that yet. Everybody is charged up and ready to go. They have done everything exactly the way we had hoped to get this thing started. The first week was all but perfect for us, and everybody paying attention and getting going. But we have a whole nother week that's transitional, and so not until, like I said, the 14th or so will we really will start camp. We'll start training camp officially, and it'll feel like football for the first time then. So wait and see.
Bob.
Yeah, Pete, what is going to be the biggest challenge of not having preseason games? Are you going to have to work some more contact periods into practices and things like that?
Yes, we will, Bob. It's important that we have to catch up physically, with the things that you could get accomplished in the 4 games. Not all the players some of the young players played a lot in all 4 of those games, but the starters did not. And so we would ramp up their play and try to get them by, where they could play 3/4 of a game before they would take the 4th game and basically take that game and let the young guys play. We have to make that time up and the physical part of the game come to life here on the practice field. We will have a couple events in the stadium. We're going to have a couple game-like events on the 22nd and the 26th of the month to really play it all out and get us in the mode. We'll be playing with more opportunities for physical stuff to be done here rather than in the games, and we'll have to take care of all that. So, but it's all designed in the process that we go through.
Can I just one more quick one? Rashad Penny, what is the situation going to be right now? Is he going to?
He's coming in on Thursday. We didn't think we needed to rush him in because he's still, rehabbing and coming back. He'll come in Thursday for Friday, and he'll start his process of reconnecting with us on Friday. We just thought it would be better. He missed a week in transition that we didn't want to, because he would have had to sit around the days right here, right now. We'd like to go ahead and hopefully we made a good decision there. We're anxious to get him back. He's working out really hard. The reports are really strong that he's doing well. But we have not had him in our building for a while now, so this will be our first chance.
Great, thank you.
Greg?
Coach,
Hey.
I think you're one of a half dozen teams that have not had anybody on the COVID-19 list. What do you attribute that to, and do you feel more confident now than you did maybe a week ago that you're going to have a season?
Well, we're really pleased with the start. Really, absolutely pleased that we did everything we could have done with the quarantine week, and there's a lot that goes into that. Was trying to win the week really, and so we competed our way through it, and I feel like we did that. As far as moving forward, what's happening right now, Greg, is we're trying to get everything in motion so that we can operate at a really high level of taking care of our guys. We don't want to leave any stone unturned of what it takes to make sure our guys are safe. They're smart about what's going on. They're respectful of every aspect of the process. This calls this is great. This calls on a whole mentality that needs to take a step forward in terms of accountability and responsibility and respect for one another. To the fullest extent. So, as far as projecting and what that's going to mean, I don't know. But we're going to try to kick ass in every aspect of this thing, and we're attacking it with a really clear discussion and open dialogue about what it takes and what we need to do, and hopefully our guys will be really educated to be at our best to carry this challenge out. And then what that means, I don't know. We're just going to go one day at a time and keep putting one day, and one foot forward and keep marching and see how this goes. Nobody's playing football, Nobody's tried this out. We're experimenting with the process and see how the game fits with the interactions and what it means in terms of controlling the spread of the infection. We'll just have to wait and see. I can't tell you what's going to happen, but I'm optimistic that we're doing everything we can, and I love the leadership on this team continuing to send the message to the guys, because I really feel like more than ever the leadership in your locker room is going to be more meaningful and more instrumental in our success. I mean, it's always crucially important, but now more than ever. We in essence, we don't bubble like the NBA did or like the NHL did in the same fashion, but don't think for a second that we aren't in a bubble. We are, and that bubble is the conscience that we can hold. Always protect the team. Rule number one is in effect, and it's crucial we do a great job with this. So we'll see how it goes.
And then quickly, do you anticipate the league? Have you thought much about the league reinstating Josh Jordan? Is there a place for him on your team for him?
It's really not. This again it's not in our hands. Josh did a really good job with us last year. He fit in really well. He was part of this team, and by the way we opened and embraced his coming to us, but also by the way he attacked it. So we are very open to that thought, and we'll see what happens. I don't know. I can't tell you what's going to happen on that.
Thank you.
Michael Sean?
Hey Pete, have you had any conversations with guys about opting out, and do you anticipate anyone doing that on your team before anyone other than Chance, obviously, before the deadline comes?
Yeah, our coaches have. We spent the first 2 days that we were here talking to our players just about their own situation, and giving them an opportunity to ask their questions and to share what's going on in their world and their view with our coaches. Hopefully, doing a nice job. We wanted it on a more intimate situation when guys were talking about that stuff, so that's how we broke it down. I haven't heard. There has been some guys asking questions specifically about it and all of that, and we've tried to answer the questions and come to a clear understanding. I support whatever guys got to do. I'm in support of them, and so far I don't have any information about that more than that.
The second one, really quick. If Jordan Brooks was to be a starter, where would that be? Like, what's his fastest path to a starting job in his rookie year?
Well, I think the spot that makes sense to us at this point, he could play either outside. He could play all three spots at linebacker. He's physically capable, and I've seen enough film of him. There's a lot of film of him playing all different spots. So I know in his background, any college guy that came to us, you would love to see what we've seen in him. He started for 4 years, and he's had thousands of snaps. So the flexibility is there. I think his clearest path would be, and the most obvious path would be at the Will Backer spot. We'll see how that goes. We'll start him there, and then see how fast he can grasp it and how soon he can become comfortable, and we'll see. And we have tremendous flexibility in our guys. Our guys have been here for a long time in our program, with Bruce coming back and KJ and Bobby. It's a fantastic group of guys. We've got a lot of options and plan here to weigh out, but we got to see how it goes, and that's why this goes back to competition, and we'll see how it all plays itself out. KJ's been a fantastic player. Might have had his best year for us last year. Bobby's at the top of his game, and we're thrilled to have Bruce back. But that doesn't mean that all those guys don't play at the same time. And all four of those guys are on the field at the same time. There's options for how we can do that we've worked out, and the competition will settle it. I'm not concerned about it at all. The competition will tell us what we need to do here, and because the options are all there for us.
Thanks, Pete.
And I think Ashley Ruiz is Omar Ruiz.
Yeah, that's me. Thanks, Dave.
Good, Omar.
Hey, Pete, just for clarity, Rashad's going to get to town Thursday to start his testing process. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, he gets in on Thursday. I think it really actually begins on Friday, but he's traveling in Thursday.
Okay. And then my other question is, in the offseason, offensive players can get together, throw routes, work on timing and stuff like that. How do you bring along a defense to come together and, maybe form that chemistry and continuity, maybe especially in this kind of training camp where it is different? Yeah,
you don't have the same opportunity. The throw and catching thing, which Russell is famous for, and he worked out with guys all summer. And he was busy the whole time, processing guys and growing with guys and creating the chemistry and the mentality and the communications and all that. He worked out with all of the guys that were that are coming back that we hope to see playing a lot. The defense doesn't have that chance, so they do it, in their workouts. They get together when they can, and it's just not the same process. So the offense will come in, like when today they'll throw routes for the first time, but they'll look pretty sharp today because they have spent some time. Defense is a little farther behind in that regard, but then again, defense catches up really quickly too. So, in the old days we played a lot of hoops.
Thank you.
Joe?
Hey, Pete, just curious if you have an update on Will Dissly and where he's at.
Well, Will had an incredible offseason. He worked out in L.A., was down there. The group that he worked out with told me that he had nine months with them. He spent 9 months working out on a real rigid schedule. He didn't miss 1 minute of one day in 9 straight months. They said they've never seen anybody do that before, and the benefits of it is that he comes in and passes his physical. So we're thrilled about Will's process. But then again, because of the way he's been, I'm not surprised that somebody would say that he's been the hardest worker and the most diligent, grittiest guy that they've ever seen come through the program. So that means that we'll still take care of Will as we start camp, but yet he did pass his physical. We'll look after him and make sure that we don't come along too fast. Will's a really great product of learning and the system and all that. He knows what he's doing, and he'll be a factor as soon as we cut him loose. But in the meantime, we want to make sure and take care of him. He did everything. Obviously, I can't tell you anymore. He did everything a guy could possibly do, and so we're thrilled about his process.
Art?
Hi, Pete.
What's up, Art?
You've had a chance to look at Jamal Adams' 3 years of NFL film. How alike and how different is he in terms of athleticism and skill set compared to Troy Polamalu?
Yeah, that's a good comparison. Their stature is much different. Troy was a really unusual body for the kind of athlete and the kind of player that he was, and the extraordinary explosive speed and all that he played with. There's some real similarities, and forget the stature part of it, the way they look. It's the nature that they play with that's similar, and that nature is one that they play with such amazing confidence that when they see things, they go get things, and with their savvy that they have that makes them so extraordinarily different than other players is that they can see things before they happen almost, because they just have a knack about them, and they can take advantage of, and because of their confidence, they take advantage of it. So when I watched Troy play, there would be times when he could control a game, and he could make plays that weren't even within anywhere near the realm of the concept that we were playing, because he could see things, feel things, and then when he saw it, he'd go. And the last thing you want to do with those guys is to make them over responsible, to make them feel like they can't have that kind of freedom, because as soon as you go there, you limit the magnificence that these young guys have. So there's a lot of similarities. They don't look at all the same when they play, but the dynamics that they bring to your team are very similar. You just want to just keep giving them opportunities to make things happen, and they find ways to it. And so Jamal and I, in our conversation so far, we're talking about how, and he's really disciplined, which I'm really excited about. He really cares about all of the techniques and the principles and the concepts. He wants to know all those things, he wants to ask all the questions and all. But it's to get him so that he can be freed up and he can play with great confidence, and he can have the opportunities to add what he adds. In that, those guys affect other guys tremendously. He'll help other guys play well and all that. And I'm not asking him to do anything he hasn't done before. We don't need to do that. We just need him to get to the point where he's confident and he can cut it loose and let it rip. And then he'll affect Bobby and KJ and Jay Reed up front and Bruce on the edge, and they'll affect him too, of course. But it's why he's separated as such a fantastic football player, And so, I'm not going to tell you after all that. I'm not going to say, oh, he's better than Troy or this or that. I don't know that. I just know that they have a tremendous knack that I'm hoping we can find the way to get him comfortable so that he can cut it loose and bring it. And there was times with Troy Polamalu, and I have not been on the field with Jamal yet. There was times when he would go so far to be so aggressive and to create such problems. I mean, we had to cancel practices at USC a couple times when he got pissed off at Justin Fargas, and they were going at it, and it was just too dangerous at times. So I don't know that Jamal has that dynamic to him. We'll find out. If he does, I'd love to see it. So we'll control it and we'll figure it out. But so really, obviously, really excited about it.
Thanks.
Brady?
Justin Fargas got a mention today. How about that? That's cool. Way to go, Just.
Hi, Pete. Just wondering, what type of personality does Jamal bring to the locker room, and how were you able to figure that out? I mean, you see what he does on the football field, you see that on tape, but how do you learn about the player before you trade for him like that?
Well, you do everything you can in your research. And John, I mean, I should not go a step further. This is such an extraordinary deal that John figured out and his guys. To not give him credit for this is to totally not understand what happened. This thing started months ago, and when there was no time that you would think that this could ever be where this guy would be on our club and playing here at the VMAC, John had a thought that it could happen, and he stayed with it and he processed it. He worked at the highest levels of the communication of it to get it worked out. the background work that we did to answer your question and to understand the player. Was it worth what we did to go get him? Would he fit into the club? Would he match up in our locker room? Could he get along with his coach? Could he support his head coach? There was all kinds of things we needed to figure out, and I don't have I can't tell you I know exactly how it is because we haven't been in the locker room with him. But what I know what other players have said. I know what other coaches have said. I know what his college coaches have said. We've tracked down some of his real history to him, and we found nothing that would give us any other thought that he's going to be a great teammate, and he's going to do everything he can to help his team win. I thought that his opening interview with you guys was remarkable, and that his ability to understand all the people that have impacted him and to give credit and to be humble about that when he's the player that he is, I thought was outstanding and remarkable that he did that. But the other side of it is watch him play. Watch the juice that he brings. Watch the energy that he feels, in playing this game that he loves, and how that affects the people around him. And I know that that's going to carry over to the locker room. I just don't know that for a fact yet. I've just been able to watch him on the field, and all of the fire and the juice that comes out. It is what I've loved about this game since I was a little kid, and so to see that we're able to bring that to our club. We want to be as juiced and jacked up to play this game as anybody's ever been in the history of the game. Well, this is a guy that he understands that's where he wants to live. So he's going to affect us in a really positive way. One of the things I got time, right? We're not going anywhere. One of the things you could look at, you could see him be all fiery and interpret that like he's being selfish or like he's being overly outgoing or whatever. Come on, this guy loves what he does, and he cares so much that the passion just explodes out of him at times, which is exactly what you've seen in players that we've had in our program for years. So to have a chance to add that to our team, forget all the playmaking stuff. It's that element of mentality that I love to add, so that Bobby gets to play with a guy like that, and that Jay Reed gets to play with a guy like that, and Bruce, and they'll all feed off of each other because we all love to be that way. That's the way we love about this game, is cutting it loose and letting it go and getting to that primal mentality that this game allows. So I don't know how it's going to be in the locker room, but I do know what I know, and what I know is I couldn't be more excited about. Saying all that, it's still about being a great teammate. It's still about being a great teammate. That means that you're here to serve others. And so he's heard that, and he'll hear it again, and he'll hear it again and again and again. And I know he'll be in total compliance with that. I'm not worried. I'm not worried for a second about that. But he needs to learn us and to know what we're talking about here. And I know he's really excited about it. And so there ain't gonna be any problem.
Thank you.
Paul?
All's well. The Saints are going to put together a mini bubble at a downtown hotel where 150 of the 180 employees and players are going to be there up to the first week of September. Is that an alternative that you guys have discussed?
Yeah, we've spent the whole offseason talking about stuff like that. What is the best way to do it, and how could we? Really, I'm going to put it out there that we're the bubble is really much less physical and it's much more mental, really, in that respect. I think it was Johnny Mitchell's, the tight end at the Jets, said one time, they asked him, is the game more physical or more mental? He says, well, the mental part is much more physical. So I'm kind of at that point right now in this press conference that it's the commitment that our guys make that creates the bubble. It's the discipline that it calls for that creates the bubble. It's the support from the people on our outside and our ability to communicate to our families and the guests that don't get to come see us and the people that we don't get to hang out with, and the changes we have to make in our lifestyle to maintain the integrity of the bubble that we're talking about. So whereas we have guys living in the hotel here and we have guys living at home, we decided that it's probably better for the guys who have shown in the last 4 months that they didn't get infected with the COVID because they knew what they were doing with their lifestyle, that we could keep them better protected in that setting. But that means that there are variables outside that can affect you. I think what New Orleans is doing is a great idea, and for them, that's the way they want to go about it, because I know what they're trying to get done. And we've seen the success of the NBA, and also I think hockey's still kicking butt too. They're doing a nice job with it. We're going to try to extend our bubble beyond the walls of that single hotel, and count on our guys to make great choices and great decisions, because this is about you either competing or you're not now, and there's no time when we're not in this together. And so hopefully with our sincerity and our communications, we can keep our guys on track, and we're going to find out. It's all going to come out. We'll see what happens. I know this, when you reopen, it doesn't work. Okay, so we saw that across our country, and to break down and start to feel comfortable that you got this thing made is not the way to go. We have got to keep the hammer down throughout and now on. And so it's got to start with me, and it's got to go through Russell and Bobby and KJ and Dwayne and all of our guys that pass the message, and that's what this challenge is all about. It's way more than the football season. It's way more than that, and we're trying to respect the heck out of this every step of the way.
Thanks, Pete.
Yep.
Miko.
Hey there, Coach.
Hey.
Well, with the fans being such a big part of the game, and I don't know if you've seen the Mariners obviously put the cutouts of the fans. I wanted to know, do you have a preference? There's some teams have done videos in other parts of the world. Do you know what maybe it's in mind, and what would you prefer in terms of adding the fans to the game again?
Yeah, I think the cutouts, they have their place. The green screens, good. Stuffed animals, if whatever it takes to fill up those seats, we'll put out there. And then crank up the sound. I mean, we have the loudest stadium anywhere. Somebody documented that a couple years back. So I'm hoping that the league will allow us to be as loud, and we'll just make it just like it always is. And I don't know really what that's going to be like, but when we go in on the 22nd and the 26th, we're going to get a sense for it. We're actually going to be playing in the stadium like it could be on game day if there's no fans in the stands. And we'll pump the sound, we'll do it all, and away we go. It breaks my heart that our fans who love our game and love our team and all that, the 12s don't get a chance to do it like they've been planning, every year in the off season, in the build-up and all. But we'll try to bring them as close to them as we can, and share it with them as best we can. But I hope everybody is really creative with our way of making the stadium feel like game day. And so I'm not sure yet. I did make a statement to the 12s. I'm going to try to come up with some creative ways, like when we all step outside on the front doorstep of where you're living and we all scream at the same time. I don't know what it is, but maybe we can be howling all across the state or some way, and see if we can't, set some records that way too. But we're all going to be challenged to figure it out, and hopefully we'll do some great stuff.
Thanks, Coach, and great Justin Fargas reference too.
Steve Rabel?
Y'all know his dad was Honey Bear, right? Yeah. I'll tell you a quick little story. I'm at SC, and somebody said, "Hey, there's a player and his dad that wants to come in and talk to you about maybe coming to school," and it happened to be my office door is usually open, but it was closed. I get a knock on the door. I get up and go open the door, and there's freaking Honey Bear right in front of me. I didn't know what to think, and then his son Justin peeks out from behind him, and that's where it started. There's no way we could turn that down. We had to take him on, so it became part of the program. It's a little sidebar story.
Steve Rabel?
Yes. I'm still writing the story about Honey Bear. Sorry.
There you go.
Hey, Pete, with all due respect, you are one of the few people in and around the building of the age group that is most susceptible to COVID. How has this affected you personally from the time that we all have had the shelter kind of in place and through this period? What has gone through your mind through all of this?
Well, I'm no different than anybody else, Ray. By the way, what are you doing with yourself anyway, man? What are you just hanging around?
I'm loving retirement. I'm getting ready for a football season.
How's your wife doing? She handling okay?
She's sort of okay with me being at home this much.
I got it.
Yeah,
Touch and go, right?
a little bit.
What was the question?
You personally.
Yeah. Okay, here it is. I'm no different than anybody else in terms of whatever. I mean, I know what the stats are. Matter of fact, my wife and I we've dug in. We've spent this entire time studying every aspect of this thing, in every way that we can. As just a couple at home, knowing that the responsibility that we bear for everybody, and trying to guide and lead and make choices and decisions and so that we could, because we feel such a responsibility for the care of everyone, that we've been really disciplined about it. And but we've been really disciplined, but we've also been active too, and we've measured our ways to do that. We're out all the time and out and about. We're very, very serious about the whole mask thing. We have been throughout. We're really disappointed when it kind of went south on us and we didn't stay with it, because our state that made a great turnaround from an initial shocking, ground zero story, we lost our edge a little bit here. And honestly, I think it's about mental toughness. It's about being freaking tough, because this ain't easy. It ain't easy putting up with all the discomfort and the newness and the nuances and stuff to live with it. But I felt like I better get my act together. I better be really good at this. So that's what I've tried to be. And so mentally about that means, you got to be hard on yourself, and you got to push yourself, and you got to give up some stuff that you normally would do. And I'm no different than anybody else in that regard. As far as being however old I am, I'm taking it as a personal challenge. If I happen to get this stuff, I'm going to kick ass on this stuff. And if I don't, it's going to be because I was able to find a way to luck my way through it, because this is a very treacherous thing everybody's dealing with, and we got to hopefully have good fortune along the way, as well as good, great discipline. And so it's really important for me to take it, head on and deal with it in a way. I'm so disappointed that we weren't tough nationally. We weren't tough enough. We were too soft on it, and we couldn't hang. And we had to let up and find ways and excuses for not maintaining the discipline that it takes to beat this thing back. So I'm hoping in our program here we can set an example. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I hope we set a great example of what it takes to do this. And in that, 6 months from now, we're still going to be involved. And so as this season, as we play it out, maybe we learn something. Maybe we can help some other people. Maybe we can, inspire somebody, if we're fortunate enough to do well and do right, to beat this thing that's disrupted everything. And so personally, I don't think it would surprise you that I'm competing my butt off to do this well and right, and hopefully I can affect those that I can reach and in the program, and we can all do this. So really important stuff.
Thanks, Pete.
Vita, bring us home.
Bring it on now.
All right, Coach. Hey, Coach, you've stressed the importance of improving year one, even year 2 to 3. What expectations do you have for DK Metcalf? And I would say especially not physical, but more mentally.
Well, this is a great story now. It's been a great story from the start. And it really, I don't want to give it the start as when we both took our shirts off and, at the combine. I don't think that's the start of it. I think it's much more so once he got here. What a great kid, man. I'm so fired up for him. He had so much to prove in his first year that because he's a great competitor, and he had a chip on his shoulder that was huge, and he wanted to prove that he belonged and that he could be a star. And he did everything he could in his first year. Smart, bright, tough, consistent, applied himself, made the plays, and overcame the disappointments of the plays that he couldn't make at times that are well within his range. He's going to be better this year. He had an incredible offseason. He spent, at least a month with Russell working out, and they found a way to do it, and they had a phenomenal summer in that regard. What gives him a chance to be a really exciting player is his mentality. He knows exactly who he is. He knows where he's come from. He knows what it's all about. He's not going to let anybody get in the way of him being all he can be. And that's all we could ever ask for. What that is, I don't know. But now we know we can move him around. We can ask him to do a lot of different stuff. We were hesitant because he was a young player and all, but we weren't sure if he was able to handle stuff. But we know now he's really a bright football player, and he's got flexibility, and he blocks, and he can rip down the field. So we hope to just use him more than ever and fit him together in this team. And it's what he wants to do, but he's here to do something special now. There's nothing about anything that he's done that doesn't make is screaming that he wants to do something really special. He's a beautiful part of this team. I can't wait to see him go.
Bob,
Thanks, Coach.
Bob, you had one more?
Yeah, Pete. Yeah, Pete. Just been a lot of rumors connecting you guys with Antonio Brown. His situation sort of, I guess, got clarified last week with the suspension. Is that anything you would still consider at all, or?
Well, what I'd say to you is just what we always say, because it's what we always do and who we are. John is competing at every turn. And there's never been a process, unless we just missed it, that we weren't involved with to understand what the chances were helping our club. And he's all over it. He knows what's going on right now, and as much as you can. And it remains it's a very complex situation, and we just need to see where it fits somewhere down the road. And that's all I got for you.
All right, everybody. Thank you.
See you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You got it.
Thank you, guys.